The night sky over Manhattan shimmered with neon reflections as light rain kissed the rooftops. Peter Parker swung through the city like a crimson streak, his web lines glinting under the moonlight. It had been a quiet week, too quiet. But deep down, Peter knew peace in New York never lasted long. As he landed atop a tall skyscraper, his spider sense buzzed faint but sharp, like a warning whisper in the dark. Down below, near the Brooklyn docks, a strange blue light flickered. "That's not your regular street light," he muttered, slipping his mask tighter before leaping into the night. When he reached the docks, he saw something that made his heart pound: several armed men unloading glowing crates marked with Oscorp's logo. And at the center of it all stood a man wrapped in a coat of black metallic armor, his eyes burning red. "Whoa," Peter whispered. "That's new." The armored man turned his head slowly, as if sensing him. "Spider-Man," he said in a deep, distorted voice. "You shouldn't have come." Before Peter could reply, the villain raised his arm. A blast of dark energy shot out, slamming into a crane and sending it crashing into the water. Spider-Man dodged midair, firing webs to stop falling debris. "Okay, you win the award for worst first impression," he quipped, landing lightly on a crate. The man stepped forward. "You don't understand what's coming, boy. Oscorp created something it can't control, and I'm the proof." With that, he launched forward, and their clash sent shockwaves through the night. Sparks, metal, and webbing tangled in the air as Spider-Man struggled to keep up. The villain's strength was unreal, every punch rattled his bones. Just when Peter managed to web his foe's arm, the man roared, tearing through the webbing like paper. "Tell Norman Osborn," he growled, "that the Shadow hasn't forgotten." Then, in a burst of dark light, he vanished, leaving behind a cracked piece of glowing metal. Breathing hard, Spider-Man picked it up. "What in the world?" he whispered. The metal pulsed with strange energy, almost alive. His spider sense screamed louder than ever. Something big was coming. Something beyond Oscorp. And for the first time in years, Peter felt real fear crawl down his spine. High above Manhattan, thunder rolled. The city was about to face its darkest hour, and Spider-Man was standing right in the middle of it. Rain poured harder over the city as Spider-Man raced across rooftops, the mysterious metal fragment clutched in his hand. Every pulse from it sent a vibration through his suit, like it was alive and watching him. Peter didn't waste a second. He swung straight to his lab at the university, scanning the fragment under his homemade spectrometer. "Okay. Oscorp tech, alien energy signature, and a bunch of things that should not exist on Earth. Great. Just another Tuesday." Suddenly, the computer flashed a warning: "Energy source interdimensional." Before Peter could react, the lab lights flickered and a surge of blue lightning exploded from the device. A swirling portal ripped open in the air, tearing through metal and glass. Out of the portal stepped someone wearing a torn spider suit, but it wasn't Peter. "Who the?" Peter gasped. The figure raised his head. "I'm you. From another world. And if the Shadow isn't stopped, he'll destroy every universe connected to ours." Peter froze. His other self, battle-scarred, eyes weary, continued, "He's using Oscorp's tech to open a rift between dimensions. He wants to merge them all into one world under his control. Millions could die." Before Peter could ask more, the building shook violently. The Shadow had found them. Windows shattered as he appeared in a burst of dark energy. "Too late, Spider-Man," he boomed, his armor glowing with blue fire. "The portal is opening and I am the key." The two Spider-Men leaped into action, moving in perfect sync, their web lines crisscrossing like lightning through the smoke. Peter's spider sense screamed as Shadow fired an energy blast, blowing apart the floor. "Keep him busy," the other Spider-Man shouted. "I'll shut down the portal." Peter dodged debris, flipping and firing webs to pull the Shadow off balance. "You talk too much for a guy who glows in the dark," he yelled, slamming a webbed kick into the villain's chest. But the Shadow grabbed him midair, his hand crackling with power. "You think you can stop Destiny?" he growled, hurling Peter through a wall. The lab's core reactor reached critical overload. Energy spiraled wildly, and in a blinding flash, the portal exploded outward. The shock waved through all three of them across the room. When the light faded, the Shadow was gone. The other Spider-Man lay weak but breathing. Peter crawled over to him. "He escaped," Peter said softly. The other Spider-Man nodded. "And he's heading to the Oscorp Tower. That's where he'll finish it." Peter clenched his fists. "Then that's where we stop him." As dawn broke over New York City, two Spider-Men stood side by side on a rooftop, watching the Oscorp Tower glow in the distance like a rising storm. "Ready?" Peter asked. "Always," his counterpart replied. They leaped together, twin heroes diving into the golden morning light, swinging toward Destiny. The final battle for the multiverse had begun. The morning sun struggled to rise over Manhattan. Dark clouds swirled above the Oscorp Tower, lightning flickering through them like veins of chaos. From a distance, the tower looked alive, pulsing with the same eerie blue energy that came from the Shadow's armor. On a nearby rooftop, two Spider-Men stood watching. "This is it," Peter said quietly. "One last swing." His other self nodded. "No holding back." They launched forward, slicing through the storm, webs snapping in rhythm with thunder. As they approached the Oscorp Tower, they saw the impossible: a massive energy rift spinning above the building, sucking in clouds, cars, even chunks of skyscrapers. At its center stood the Shadow, his armor fully transformed, energy veins crawling across his body. His voice echoed through the air, booming like a god. "Soon, every world will merge into one. I will end the chaos of the multiverse." Spider-Man landed on a steel beam. "You're not ending chaos," he shouted. "You're creating it." The battle began with explosive fury. The Shadow unleashed waves of dark energy, the Spider-Men dodged, flipped, and countered in perfect unison. Peter used his web shooters to blind the villain's sensors, while the other Spider-Man charged forward, landing a crushing punch to the armor's core. But the Shadow roared, grabbing them both by the throat. "You can't stop the inevitable." He slammed them into the tower, cracking glass and steel. Peter coughed, barely holding on. "You sound just like every guy who tried to play God," he said. And guess what? They all lost. With a surge of strength, he fired a web straight into the reactor above, pulling himself upward. The other Spider-Man followed. Together, they aimed their web shooters at the reactor core, the source of the rift. Now, they fired a combined web shot, laced with their suit's electrical charge. The impact triggered a chain reaction. The reactor overloaded, blinding blue light exploding outward. The Shadow screamed as his armor cracked, light pouring out of him. "No! This power was mine." Peter dove forward, pulling the reactor cables free while the other Spider-Man tackled the Shadow, dragging him toward the edge. There was a flash and then silence. When the smoke cleared, the rift above the tower began to collapse. The energy faded into the clouds, and the city finally fell quiet. Peter looked around. Where is he? The other Spider-Man stood on the ledge, breathing heavily. Gone. Pulled into the rift when it closed. Peter nodded slowly. He made his choice. They both looked at the rising sun, golden light breaking through the storm for the first time. The other Spider-Man turned to him. Looks like my world needs me back. Peter smiled faintly. Then go save it? That's what we do. They clasped hands hero to hero before the portal reopened one last time. With a nod, the second Spider-Man stepped through, vanishing into light. Peter stood alone atop the tower, watching the city below. The sun glowed warm against his mask. New day, new problems, he murmured with a grin. But hey, that's New York. He leaped off the tower, swinging into the golden skyline free, fearless, and ready for whatever came next. Because as long as there was danger, there would always be Spider-Man.